What's up guys, it's V Renee. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. This video is happening because when I did my TMI tag a couple months ago, I don't know at this point, I mentioned that I've never finished Dracula by Bram Stoker, and as a creepy ghoul bitch, I offended a lot of my fellow creepy ghoul bitches because I couldn't finish the creepy ghoul bitch Bible. So I thought I would double down and wear a white dress, lose all my cool goth cred that I might have, and talk about some other books that I DNF'd that will surprise you. So let's talk about it. We'll start with the obvious one, the reason for this video even being made, Dracula by Bram Stoker. Why couldn't I finish it? Because I found it boring. I tried ebook, paperback. I own the paperback of Dracula, I still can't finish it. I also tried listening to it via audiobook last October, still couldn't finish it. Next. The next DNF that I have on my list is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. Why did I not finish this book? I don't know. I was really into it in the beginning. I think it's a case of I rented it from the library as an ebook, and then, you know, when ebooks expire, you don't just get to hold on to them like you do a physical book, they disappear. I was about 15% into it, and I just have never picked it back up, and I don't know why. It's the second vampire book on my list, and not the last, which is very weird because y'all know vampires are my jam. I don't know what it is. That's one that I'm definitely gonna try to read. I'm gonna try again because Holly Black is a reigning YA fantasy queen. She's the author of The Cruel Prince, and I need to read my contemporaries, or who I hope to be contemporary with, in order to understand the market, all that good stuff. Plus, again, I was kind of into it in the beginning, so we might try again. Next. Nala shush. Nala shush. Shh. Better quit. The next book on my list is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. And why did I not finish this book? I don't know. Once again, I rented it from the library in ebook form. But I also forgot that I had rented it. I know that I opened it, and I guess that says it all. Not everything is for me. Not everything is written for me, and I don't have to like everything. But I do feel bad about not liking it. If I ever do a video where I'm not crooked in the frame, you will know that I have changed. The next book I'm going to talk about is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I talked about this book when I read 5-star reviews of books that I hate, and I hate Caraval, and I DNF'd it because it was boring as shit. I don't understand the hype. Maybe it's me. I was 0% interested in this book, and I don't have any plans to ever pick it back up. Next. The next one is one from a couple of years ago. I am a big fan of the author Roxane Gay, but the first book I ever picked up of hers was An Untamed State, and I'm gonna put a content warning here. I'm gonna put a timestamp when I stop talking about this book, because the reason I couldn't finish it is because of the rape. I barely remember the plot of this book. I do think it has something to do with the main character is a daughter of a rich family in a Caribbean island. I can't remember which one, and she gets kidnapped, and content warning, content warning, content warning. They brutally gang assault her often, and she gets a lit cigarette put inside of her, and the minute that happened, I could not read it anymore. Sometimes the graphic content is necessary to understand the violence and the atrocities that people go through, but I cannot watch sexual assault scenes in movies. I cannot read them. I can't. And so I could not finish this book because of that. This is another book from a few years ago. It's Blonde Roots by Bernadine Evaristo. This is a book that follows an alternate history timeline where Africans colonized the United States, and they brought over people from Europe to be slaves rather than the other way around. And I went into this book with a lot of excitement. I thought it was going to be a really cool take on everything, but it just felt a little bit reverse racism-y, which I should have known that was going to happen because it inverts the power dynamic of actual slavery. With the context of real slavery, it just was like, oh, I couldn't, they were treated terribly, but I just couldn't feel bad for the white, slaves. I was just like, well, you know, this ain't how it really happened, so I don't really care. I don't know. It just felt like one big commentary on reverse racism, which isn't real, so next. The next one is another one that I am going to embarrass my fellow baby goths with admitting that I've never finished it. And it is The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. I tried. I got it on audiobook, and I'm hoping maybe it was the narrator that turned me off of it. I also rented it from the library once, and I rented it with a stack of other spooky stories for October and never got around to it a couple years ago. I'm hoping that I can give it another try and actually like it. I might put it on my Halloween TBR. Stay tuned, I'm gonna make a video on my Halloween TBR list for this year. We'll see. Also, the creators of The Haunting of Hill House are making another season next year, and it is gonna be based on this story, which means I gotta get my ass, you know, into gear and read this classic, I guess. The next one is one that makes me upset. As many times as I have tried to read anything by the author Libba Bray, who I want to love, who I want to be a huge fan of, I cannot get through them. I cannot get through a single book. I can't tell you how many times I have tried to read A Great and Terrible Beauty. I remember trying to read that in high school. I recently checked it out again. Still couldn't get more than 30% of the way through. By the time she goes to boarding school, I don't care anymore. I know that the Gemma Doyle series is widely loved by many YA authors. I just couldn't get into it. I tried to read The Diviners while I was on vacation a couple years ago. Couldn't get through it. It was a very interesting premise to me. I really wanted to read the Diviner series, and I could not get through it. I even tried reading Going Bovine, which is a totally different style for her. It's a totally different thing. She obviously she writes great books. I just don't know if it's her writing style. I don't know. Tell me what I need to read by Libba Bray to fall in love with her, because I understand that she is like one of the greatest writers for our genre, and I don't know why I don't like her books. And the last book that I want to talk about specifically is a book by Stephen King. I'm a huge Stephen King fan. He was my favorite author of all time until I got more into Shirley Jackson, and now they kind of share like first and second place for me. He's written 60 books. I obviously have not read all his books. One that I did try to read that should have been just like my all-time favorite book, and I found it mind-numbingly boring, is Salem's Lot. So again, vampire book. Don't know why I didn't like it. Usually that's my jam. But it bored me so much that I won't even watch the film adaptation of it because I'm afraid it'll put me to sleep. And I don't want to admit that a story that deals with monsters that I love by an author that I love sucks, in my opinion. I read it when I was in high school. Maybe I just wasn't ready for the content, but I also read Under the Dome in high school, all 1,100 pages of it, and loved it, and it was totally out of left field for me. So I can't necessarily blame that on the denseness of Salem's Lot. It just was, I didn't like it. Why did you DNF these books, Victoria? I didn't like them. I didn't like them.